Welcome to Constitutional Truth. I'm your host, Shar, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the mask mandates and craziness that's going on with that. Oh boy, is there some craziness. I know we've all been dealing with the craziness for a year now. Yeah, 2 weeks to flatten the curve has turned into a year to, oh God, we don't even know what. But as all of you know by now, I'm in Texas. I do teach on the federal Constitution and I discuss Texas bills, and I mentioned some stuff that went on in Abilene, Texas, with regard to the freeze that we had. So I think it's pretty safe to say you figured out that I'm in Texas. But um, Governor Abbott lifted the state mask mandate that will go into effect on this Wednesday, the 10th. So, of course, that got a lot of people going. I'd say probably 45% were in favor of the mandate being lifted. 45% went insane about it shouldn't be lifted. And then there's 10% of us sitting back and saying, what the hell is wrong with all you people? Okay? Because we're sitting back and saying it never should have been there in the first place. You know, that 45% that are in favor are the ones that are praising him. Oh, thank you for giving us back our rights. Oh, Lord. Yeah, there's a little meme going around where they've superimposed his face over that of Santa Anna, and his nickname is Abbott to Santa Anna, which is kind of funny if you ask me. But anyway, here on the screen is one of the pages of the executive order GA34 that he issued. And all I'm saying here is that, yeah, he lifted it where the state is no longer enforcing it, but he still leaves it up to, as it should have been all along, but he leaves it up to private business and individuals to do as they please. And that's where people that want mask mandates are going absolutely apoplectic about it. Okay? I mean, the very, very same day, the 2nd, March 2nd, that he released this executive order, there were people on the Texas Education Agency's Facebook page begging, mostly teachers, begging TEA to tell all of the school districts across the state, and if we've got 254 counties, we have at least 300 plus school districts, because unlike other states, we don't have a county school district. Each city can have its own school district, so do the math from there. But we begging the TEA to issue a mandate that all schools must continue with the face mask policy. And these teachers were all saying, you know, the kids are going to spread the COVID, and the kids are going to make the teachers sick, and the teachers haven't had a chance to get the shots yet. We're not even allowed to have the shots. And within a day, teachers were put on the priority list for being able to get the shot. And I'm sitting there watching this unfold, and I'm thinking, you people don't follow science. You don't even know how to read science. And I used to be a teacher. So I'm thinking, did you guys skip college and go straight into teaching? Because I know I had to go to college. I had to take at least 2 science courses. One of them was biology. And we had to read, you know, scientific journal papers. And I still read scientific journal papers. And I understand them. What are y'all missing? I mean, they were going stupid. So yeah, they're wanting to keep these kids in masks until forever, because they're like, oh, well, we've got to at least have the vaccine. But what does the CDC say? I mean, up until today, they were saying that even after a vaccine, you still have to be masked. And I was like, you disingenuous whores. You, you know that having a vaccine isn't going to mean that these kids get to have their mask come off. You know they're still going to have to wear a mask, and you're still going to have to wear a mask according to the CDC, you little follow the science morons. So, anyway, today I read that the CDC had issued their new interim public health recommendations for fully vaccinated people. And I saw it in a couple of news articles. And it was just, like the little presser that they did at the White House today. And I thought, well, I want to go see what the CDC has printed and published and put out there. So here's the key points. This is the first set of public health recommendations for fully vaccinated people. This guidance will be updated and expanded based on the level of community spread, the proportion of the population that is fully vaccinated, and the rapidly evolving science on COVID-19 vaccines. Oh, whatever. It's not a vaccine, it's an experimental drug. Bite me. For the purpose of this guidance, people are considered fully vaccinated for COVID-19 greater than or equal to 2 weeks after they have received the second dose of a 2-dose series, or greater than or equal to 2 weeks after they have received a single dose vaccine. The following recommendations apply to non-healthcare settings. Fully vaccinated people can visit with other fully vaccinated people indoors without wearing masks or physical distancing. Visit with unvaccinated people from a single household who are at low risk for severe COVID-19 disease indoors without wearing masks or physical distancing. Refrain from quarantine and testing following a known exposure if asymptomatic. For now, fully vaccinated people should continue to take precautions in public like wearing a well-fitted mask and physical distancing, wear masks, practice physical distancing, and adhere to other prevention measures when visiting with unvaccinated people who are at increased risk or who have an unvaccinated household member who is at increased risk. Wear a mask, maintain physical distance, and practice other prevention measures when visiting with unvaccinated people from multiple households. Avoid medium and large-sized in-person gatherings. There's the classroom. Get tested if experiencing symptoms. Follow guidance issued by individual employers. Follow CDC and Health Department travel requirements and recommendations. So again, I repeat, those disingenuous whores, and that applies to male and female teachers equally. These mask mandates for students are never going to come to an end. And there is significant evidence out there. There was a German study. Well, it wasn't really a study, it was more of a survey. And you can go and look for it. It's on the PMed, I believe is what you call it. There are some issues with the study because there's no control cohort. It is a survey, not necessarily a study. It did ask for input. Most of the input was from parents, not necessarily students, because some of the kids are young and things like that. But there is some anecdotal information. Let's put it that way: anecdotal information from this German survey that indicates that there are some not so good effects of consistent, constant mask wearing with children. There's also been a lot of writing that I saw that has gone over for the entire year of 2020 into 2021, concerns from psychiatrists, psychologists, child development specialists, pediatricians, and so forth, with how infants will develop language skills and other interpersonal relationship skills with masked people. There's a lot of unknowns with constant and regular mask wearing for our children. Another one is germophobia, because children thinking that they, may get sick, being afraid of other people. And we've done this to our kids. My child is an adult, okay? So I don't have a dog in this hunt per se. but I do as a concerned human, a concerned citizen, a former educator. It bothers me, and I there were people on there when I would comment that would say to me, "Well, you didn't teach in this pandemic," and I'm like, "No, but I taught before Columbine when my very first year teaching, we had a bomb threat at our school, and there were no emergency protocols, and we did it all wrong." And I know we did it all wrong because having been in the Air Force, I knew what the protocols were for looking for a bomb, and you didn't carry two-way radios with you. You didn't do this, you didn't do that, and you sure as hell didn't take students from indoor setting and walk them outdoors to across the campus, fully exposed to the outdoors, to an outdoor stadium, and where the stadium was right next to a housing development that had two-story homes with balconies and windows facing the stadium. I mean, anybody ever heard of sharpshooters? So, um, I'm like, okay, so no, I haven't been in a pandemic setting, but I have been in other settings, and I know what can happen. And sometimes you have to apply some logic, and keeping kids away from school, or, well, frankly, I think they shall be homeschooled anyway, but keeping them muzzled with a face mask all the time when they are not the ones that are disease vectors. They're not the ones that are causing adults to become sick. This is evidenced by multiple studies in many different countries. But nobody wants to listen to that science. And so what we have going on now is a bunch of people running around and acting like they're part of a new church. And I call it the Holy Cathedral of the MaskHoles. They and these are the ones that are pro-masking. These are the ones that want the full effect and power and force of the state behind them. And now that that's not there anymore, they're all kinds of happy and excited that businesses are doing it, like in our town of Abilene. Every one of the grocery outlets are saying, yes, we're going to continue to enforce mask mandates for, not just staff, but also for shoppers. And anytime someone pokes a hole in there, well, not everybody can wear a mask for any various number of reasons, they'll come back and say, well, you can shop online. Well, not everyone can afford to shop online because those require delivery fees that not everyone can afford to pay. The biggest one are people that receive food stamps. Food stamps doesn't cover delivery fees. And they're like, well, you don't have the right to tell the business what to do, and you'll just have to find a way to pay the fees. Oh, well, that's fair. They call that a reasonable accommodation. And I'm pretty sure that if any of that was taken to a court of law, that the court would say, no, you cannot charge people who are poor or unable to pay that fee. You cannot charge them that fee and call it a reasonable accommodation. But unfortunately, no one has pushed that because they're all poor. Anyway, so this new church, okay, this Holy Cathedral of the MaskHoles, they have liturgies and hymns, okay? They run around singing and repeating all the time. Follow the science. Trust the science. Believe in the science. Of course, you're a heretic if you should happen to bring up science that disagrees with what they're preaching. They have a God, and that God is science. They have a high priest, and that high priest in the United States is Fauci. Their priest class is everybody in the CDC. They have a religious garment that they wear, and that is their mask. They're very evangelical because they're always trying to convert people into joining their Holy Cathedral of the MaskHoles. And they're very quick to label anyone who should disagree with them or not conform as being heretics. And we all must be burned at the stake. You notice that anytime, you'll notice this on social media, anytime that anyone should say, well, I have the freedom to not wear my mask, you can still wear yours, that they'll say something really, really ugly and nasty along the lines of, well, don't go to the hospital then, or you shouldn't get the vaccine then, or, really stupid things, or, well, when you die, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys and let you know that I've just, and I'm going to put it in the description here, Freedom Tunes by Seamus. I cannot remember his last name, and I would probably mess it up if I did, but his first name is Seamus. Freedom Tunes put out a hilarious 1 minute video on these MaskHoles, and I'm going to include it in the description so that you guys can use it, because from now on, I'm not even going to argue with these people. When they get ridiculous, I'm just going to click respond, ask, is this you, and link that video, because I'm done with them, and hopefully you guys are too. So if you like what I do, if you enjoy what I'm doing, or if you have any suggestions, whatever, please subscribe, hit like, hit share, add a comment. And thanks so much. Have a wonderful day.